Hello, it's time for another season review. We are here in 2051 and we have just finished another fantastic season building on the success of last year. And yeah, we've had some decent European success. No trophies yet, but progress still being made. And yeah, we've got some big transfers to touch on. Where else to start but with those transfers? You'll notice I'm just trying to speed through it a little bit here. Less waffle where possible. First out, this was again in the January. So basically we had, what happened last time was, I think we touched on it, HK changed manager. They recruited the Fram manager, who therefore they took a while to recruit their next manager. And what that meant was HK and Fram didn't renew any, if at all, of their loan deals. So Marco Vassone, he'd been at HK, well, as you can see, he'd made 116 appearances. He came back. We had signed him initially, I think, like 24 mil from Juve, which at the time we thought was, 11 mil, sorry. Which at the time we still thought was a bit of a gamble. But then we got 29 million for him from Milan. So happy days, nice, easy bit of business, great bit of profit. And yeah, we can't really complain with that. Like I said, we would have ideally liked to get him back out into the loan farm, but when Milan came in and said, here, have, 32 million or whatever, we were like, okay, off you go then. We had a similar issue with Richmond Ayew, who we had signed for something like 600k or 800k from ASEC. 300k from Asante Kotoko, and he'd been out on loan at HK. And then he came back in January, and Liverpool bid 33 million for him, and he obviously wanted to go and play for Liverpool. So, yeah, annoyingly, we lost him out of the loan farm. But again, it was easy money. And obviously, with the last couple of years with FFP being a bit tight, we thought, let's just get the money while we can now. But the biggest out, unfortunately, would be Dennis Reitan, someone who we've been struggling really to keep hold of for a couple of years now. We signed him for something like 5 mil, was it? Yeah, 4.7 mil from Bodder. He'd given us 5 fantastic seasons, to be fair to him. I mean, look at some of these numbers he's put up there. As you know, they are just in the league. And then, yeah, Bayern Munich came in. He was adamant he was leaving. He really wanted to go. So we've got a 98 million deal for him. And unfortunately, he has done quite well for them out there. But yeah, what can you do? What can you do, really? When, big clubs come in, we're not at a level yet where we can realistically compete with that. And yeah, he was adamant he was leaving. We had the usual sort of loan farm conversion. As you can see, there's a lot of Icelandic teams here. We had some going out on loan, some players who we'd signed who had come back off their loan farm deals, and then we just ended up getting them out back on loan. Mehdi El Harak being one, he'd done really, really well at Fram. He went out permanently to HK. Same with Julian Felder. So far, as of the 1st of July, they are the main out really this summer. It has just been loan farm players. First up in terms of ins was Tord Mahler. We signed him on a free from odds, basically coming in to potentially be a loan farm player, but that 4-star current ability, I think realistically, is putting people off. But he's actually played a few times for us, and he's done really well so far. As you can see, 2 goals, 4 assists in the Mjölkebikarin, the FA Cup, Milk Cup. And 3 goals and 2 assists in 3 starts and 2 sub appearances in the league. He's already worth 25 mil, so I don't think he's going to be mentally good enough or technically good enough for us going forward, but he's a useful player to have for free, and at that value, it will guaranteed to make profit on him if he leaves. And the sort of deals like that allowed us to spend 14.25 mil on Jens Jensen in from AAB or RB. I don't know. I can't remember what their name is technically. Aalborg Boldspilklub, that's it. Looks a really good physical striker, consistent, likes big matches. Might be able to get him out into the loan farm, but he certainly seems decent enough. I don't know why he's only rated at 3 stars. He certainly seems better than that to me. But good, quick, athletic striker who could definitely make some good runs in behind, running the channels. And I think he could be a good striker for us. We also signed Anderson from Cruzeiro for 15.5 mil. Left winger, 19 years old. 3.5-star ability, I think realistically is probably what he's going to be limited at unless that determination really carries him through. He is driven as well. He's out on loan at HK. I'm sure he'll develop well there. He's already played, made 8 starts, a goal and 2 assists. So we'll see what happens with him, but he's already worth sort of double what we signed him for almost. So seems a good bit of business really, especially because he's a loan farm player as well. Just helps in that regard. And then so far, the other 2 deals have just been free signings as well. Olivier Ouattara has come in on a free from Lens. He is wanted by Fram, which is exactly what we wanted. We didn't sign him for us. We signed him very much for the loan farm. So hopefully he'll go to Fram, and we'll see what he can do for them. He just seems a well-rounded midfielder, so I think he'll definitely improve their squad. And as I said, the other signing was a free, and this was Max Owen, who we signed on a free from Middlesbrough. Looks a really, really good winger. He's definitely more out on the right, but we are training him to play on the left, to play as an inverted winger. He's essentially Desni Minks replacement, really. He's very technically good. He's got really good physicals, good, decent mentals, well-rounded for a player, even though he is 29. Consistent, likes big matches. We're unlikely really to see much of him for a few seasons, but if we can sell him for a profit or, whatever, like realistically, whatever he gives us is going to be brilliant because we signed him for nothing. And I mean, so far, the squad is looking pretty healthy. I haven't done a sort of squad update for a while, but Carlos is still doing the absolute business. I think we may struggle to keep him for much longer. He's wanted by a lot of clubs. He's only got like 3 years left on his deal, maybe. And I think we're going to get to a point where he basically won't renew with us either. We can't extend his contract. His value's a bit concerning. We signed up for 66 mil. But yeah, essentially, I think we're going to reach a point where we're just going to have to sell him and take the hit just so we can recoup some value for him and stop him from settling the team. But yeah, AKUREYRI is another player who's wanted. He's unhappy because we blocked his bid to go to Barcelona. Samudio is wanted, but he never really seems to kick up too much of a fuss. Samudio, we touched on a while ago. He went out on loan to Breither. He's developing really, really nicely. 4-star, he seems maxed out at, but good, solid little player for us. And yeah, like I said, he's not too fussed about leaving. So I think realistically, he'll just stay with us until we sort of either upgrade him or decide that the time is right to sell him. Alexander Andre, we know about him. We love him. He's fantastic. AKUREYRI is surprisingly actually still developing quite nicely at the age of 26. Who else? Oh yeah, the Enric boys. So Libero Enric is developing really nicely. His first touch has come up and his dribbling has come up. I think his technique and his passing have also developed as well. Yeah, really happy with how he's doing. And then Enric Capellas also doing really well, developing really nicely. So, but both of these players are unsettled because clubs are bidding for them. But we, in March, signed them on to basically signed them up for another 4 years. So they're locked in with us. Caballero is actually developing better in terms of his ability, but he still doesn't feel comfortable in big matches, which is a shame. But like I said, how much that's going to hamstring him, I guess only time will tell. It's not the end of the world. You can have players who don't like big matches and you can still do well. Like second yellow card, I think he's had a couple of players who don't like big matches in his team in defence. And he's still won, I don't know how many Champions Leagues now, 4 or 5 or something like that. So it doesn't seem to be too much of a problem. A couple of other players who've got interest in him. In fact, Emiliano Arias, we're potentially selling for 32.5 mil to Villa. So we touched on him last time. We signed him for 14 million. We are getting that profit on him because he is probably going to go to Villa. He wanted to go to West Ham, but we basically used the bids from West Ham to get the higher bid from Villa. We accepted that, and West Ham haven't come back in from, so he'll probably go. But he's been decent enough for us. But yeah, we were never seeing him as a long-term solution. Dejan Dabic is developing really nicely. Another good striker option for us. Nice physical striker. Very much an advanced forward mold, I would feel. Just with his, I would say, I don't think he's physical enough or got the passing ability enough to be a complete forward or even like a target forward or anything. But decent player. And yeah, we're hopeful that he will continue to push on. And then who else? We got Erkul Gulek as a player we touched on last time, developing really, really nicely. And same with Francisco. Where is he, Francisco? Yeah, happy with how he's developing, especially in the mentals. Just would like to see a little bit more movement in the physicals. And then I think that's it for now. A lot of loan farm players still here. Johnny Bakker Hansen still kicking around. Absolute heroic servant for us. We realised he'd actually been here 12 seasons and he hadn't had his testimonial yet. So we threw his testimonial for, and I think we played Benfica. And a couple of other players probably going to leave. Carlos Francis. There's a bid on De Hoyos. We touched on him last time for 52 million, but it's potentially going to be more to Napoli, and he wants to go, and we signed him for something like 18 mil or something like that. So he's going to go because he wants to leave, and it's really easy profit, especially when we've already got like Samudio, Dabic, etc. We don't really need him. So, yeah, fine for him to go there. And who else? Gaston Santucci developing nicely still. Definitely turning into our #1 keeper as we hoped he would. Yeah, really good. And now it's time for a little bit of Champions League chat. And you will notice a theme, especially with these first 3 games, which we'll touch on soon. But obviously last season we had a really good European season with 5 of the 6 teams finishing in the top 8 of their respective competitions. And we were hoping that we could really build on that this year. So we kick things off with a home visit of Wolves. And as you can see, we went 1-0 down, but we did come back to win 2-1. Definitely deserved the win. Really should have made it more comfortable than we did. But yeah, we got the result, and that was all that mattered. Next up was an away trip to Leipzig, and you'll notice that once again, we went a goal down, and then we won 2-1. Definitely a lot more even than the Wolves game. Could have really gone either way, to be honest with you. Very tight XG. But yeah, again, another 2-1 win, and we just continued our impressive run of form against German teams. Then we welcome Milan, and again, we went 1-0 down before winning 3-1. Definitely deserved it. Comfortable win in the end. We should not have really made it as difficult as we did for ourselves, but we got the win, and it was a 100% record from our first 3 games, coming from behind in every single one. We then played Varberg of Sweden at home, and a little bit more comfortable this time. Nice, comfortable 8-0 win. Alexandre Andre getting the hat-trick despite missing a penalty earlier on. And yeah, absolutely phenomenal result. Nice, easy 8-0 win. Absolutely dominated them. They only had 2 shots compared to our 35. We then followed that up with a slightly sort of, I guess, tired, stop-starty performance against Atletico, where we drew 1-1. We probably did deserve to win it, really, on the face of it. But I think, you know, just one of those games, I think, where we just couldn't get it over the line, just couldn't find that sort of final finish, really. And then we followed that up by welcoming Arsenal to Iceland, and we destroyed them 3-0. Comfortable 3-0 win. Like, we absolutely dominated them here. Like, they barely had a sniff. And we were on, what, 5 wins from 6 or something like that at this point. Absolutely flying. And then disappointingly, we conceded in the 93rd minute away to Genoa after taking the lead ourselves in the 90th minute. And this was one of those frustrating ones where we really should have done better here. It was just after the winter break, and we were always a little bit sluggish, I find, after the winter break. We're not at our best. And yeah, really disappointing that we couldn't get the win here. And that was sort of further exacerbated by a sluggish 1-1 draw with Braga as well. A team we really should not have had this level of difficulty getting past. Their XG obviously helped by the penalty, which Santucci saved. He seems a bit of a monster at saving penalties, to be fair to him. He's pretty good. He's like Queven Kelleher, just good at saving pens. But yeah, the fact that we didn't win this was really disappointing. And I'm going to try and condense these last bits down, just like, because I feel like when I sort of delve into every single team's league phase performance, etc., it maybe just drags things on a little bit. But that did mean that despite those last 2 draws, even though, you know, all we missed out on was the coefficient points, really, because we still came in 6th. We still came in the top 8. And HK finished in 18th, so they did all right, really. They got wins against Rapid Wien, Genoa, and Hibs. Drew with Wolves, Milan, and Atleti, and lost to Barca and Chelsea, narrowly 2-1 each. So they did pretty well, and they came in 18th. But they would unfortunately get smashed 8-0 on aggregate by Monaco, and that saw them exit at the playoff round. I think they really struggled with the lack of the loan farm, really. I think it really cost them at this point. They just lost that quality, really. But you know what? They got through again to the Champions League, to the, you know, past the league phase. They played in it twice now, and they've got past the league phase each time. So, you know, that's really good. The consistency is good. The rep boost they will gain, the money they will gain is just fantastic. But anyway, back to us, and our reward would be playing Bayern Munich in the round of 16. And would you believe it? We went to Germany and we comfortably won 2-0. Yeah, absolutely fantastic. Lovely stuff. Andre and Kaspersen giving us the win. And they didn't really have much of an answer. As you can see, Dennis Reitan dropping a 6.2. Less comfortable at home, however, as Dennis Reitan actually scored against us on the 33rd minute. But we managed to keep them at bay, and we were comfortably the better team, but it took a Pablo Melendez own goal to give us the goal that we arguably deserved, and to save that coefficient point for us, and to also seal through to the quarter-final, where we would frustratingly play Chelsea again, who have won the Champions League, I think, like 2 out of the last 3 seasons. Really good team, and we would go to Stamford Bridge and we would lose 4-2, and the Lamine Coe 93rd minute goal really felt like an absolute gut punch because at 3-2, I thought we could definitely do this at home. But the 4-2 really made it difficult. And once again, Santucci saving a penalty again, man. But back in Iceland, it wasn't to be. And this is quite an interesting study game, I found this to be. So we were 2-0 down, as you can see, inside 15 minutes. They'd had 4 shots, 2 on target at this point. We'd had none. We couldn't keep the ball. And I remembered a conversation I'd had with someone in Jake Cooper's Discord server, the link for which is down below. And he was saying about how, a lot of like the meta tactics and stuff seem to use like narrow lines and things like that. I can't remember, I think someone was asking for advice about a tactic and we were sort of saying, well, you could try this, could try that. And that's when that came up. So I thought, stuff it, I've got nothing to lose. So I basically whacked the line on the narrowest I could make it. And this is the result. We had 15 shots to 7 and they had 15 shots, 7 on target, and they had 2 shots and 1 on target. Sod's law, they scored from every single shot on target, but it just went to show that if I'd have thought about that and played that narrow line from the get-go, who knows, maybe we would have won. But yeah, we absolutely dominated them after we made that change, and it's really frustrating because, like I said, we poured it back to 2-2, and then they just scored another goal anyway, and we lost the coefficient points. I felt like it was going to be a big ask once we got back to 2-2. We still needed to score another 2 goals. But interesting to see that, it worked in that regard. And we're going to try and use that going forwards. But we may also change tactic. It's been a while of us using this one. I feel with some of the sales that are coming through and the types of players we've got coming through, it might be worth our while potentially looking to tweak things a little bit. But we'll touch on that next episode because it's still very much a work in progress. So we exited at the quarterfinals basically once again, which was really, really disappointing. But you know what? We're consistently getting to the quarters now. I think we've got there, the last 2-3 years in a row or something, so we need to find that extra gear to take us over the line. And like I said, I will probably keep things a little bit quick on this one as well, because now we're going to touch on the Europa League, and we had Hafnarfjordur, Breither and Fram. That's it. Fram had the audacity to get through their Europa League qualifying round and end up in the Europa League when really I wanted them in the Conference League. But all 3 of them qualified, with Hafnarfjordur and Breither coming in the top 8 again. And yeah, really, really good to see from them. Quite nice in some ways to see that Fram were able to compete and actually qualify from the Europa League, but I do think they would have been better served in the Conference League. But they did pick up 3 wins against Sparta, Ljubljana and Bukaspor, but they did lose. And I felt like some of these they possibly could have won. They should have beaten Levski, in my opinion. Arguably, probably would have been good enough to beat Svenska, but lost to Getafe, Hoffenheim and Sevilla. Meanwhile, Hafnarfjordur, 6 wins, Zagreb, Dundee, Sporting, Haifa, Bukaspor, and a 4-1 away at Sevilla, with draw to Getafe and a loss to Shakhtar, which they also definitely should not have done. And then Breither with 5 wins and 3 draws, a nice unbeaten run from them. The wins, you can see them there, Apoel, Sarajevo, Liverpool, beating Liverpool, that's right, 4-3 away from home, 2-0 at home to Partizan, and 2-1 away at Brugge, and the draws were against Köln, Maribor, and Sevilla. I felt like after beating Liverpool, they should have easily been making light work of Köln and Maribor, but here we are. And then, let's see where they ended up after that. So Fram will be unlucky enough to come up against Svenska, and they drew 1-1 in the first leg, but then lost 3-0 at home and went out 4-1 on aggregate. And then we go to the round of 16, which saw Breither get past Hertha quite comfortably and Hafnarfjordur get past Köln again quite comfortably. I think they both drew... No, sorry, Breither lost... In fact, I say comfortably. What am I chatting? They both overturned first leg defeats. They lost 2-0 and 1-0 respectively at home before winning 3-0 and 2-0 away respectively. Sorry, they lost away and then won at home. But you get the picture. They basically came from behind both times. And then into the quarterfinals is when we lost Breither, who lost to Man United 3-2 on aggregate. Really unlucky, I felt. To basically lose 2-1 at Old Trafford and then draw 1-1 at home. No shame in that at all. But Hafnarfjordur, 6-0 victory against Fiorentina, and they are going to the semi-finals again, continuing our run of having an Icelandic team in the Europa League semi-finals, where they would draw United, and they lost 5-0 on aggregate. Yeah. United actually went on to win the whole thing, which meant Washington Antonelli won the Premier League and the Europa League at Man United. But he's come back. They didn't sign him. He's come back to us. He played a fair bit as well. But yeah. Thankfully, Vikinga did make it through to the Conference League, but they didn't do quite so well this time. They came in 15th. They did get a favourable draw, but they beat, Skendia, Bodra, Shamrock, Jablonec and Astana, and lost to Vojvodina, Freiburg and Cardiff. Cardiff, I know. But yeah, they still came in 15th, so they still would have got a favourable draw going into the playoff round. But good to see that they got to the Conference League and qualified again, because I felt like it was really important that they built on that. But unfortunately, they would lose 3-0 away to Servette, and they would only manage a 2-1 win at home, so they weren't able to quite overturn that deficit, which is a shame. But again, they've got there and they've got through. So hopeful that they can just again continue to build on that, just like with Fram, just like with HK. Progress for these clubs in these sort of competitions, which they're not used to playing in against opposition that they're not used to, and I'm hopeful that they will continue to push on. What that meant, though, coefficient was we did sort of basically just roughly manage to match what we'd done last time, and we got another 19-point season. And we, as you can see, we are right on the coattails of Italy and Germany, not too far away as well. So this year we'll be looking to keep distance with them, keep touch with them, and hopefully, if we're lucky, maybe overtake one of them. But it's going to be a big ask. We need, obviously, every single one of us to step up and do well. But, you know, it's not impossible. And we'll certainly be looking to see if that can happen. Financially, we're absolutely solid. Like, no concerns at all with some of the business we've done recently. We've made a lot of money through sales. And, FFP concerns are really not something that we need to trouble ourselves with. As you can see, over $500 million in the budget. Almost 600 million in the balance. Absolutely smashing it. Doing really, really well. Realistically, we just got to start making progress in Europe now. We've got to get reliable quarters. We really need to get a semi-final. I'm really hopeful that in the next couple of years we're going to see an Icelandic team win a European competition. In reality, it's not going to be us. I don't think we're going to be ready for a Champions League yet, unfortunately. Feels like we should be. We're almost 30 years into this now, and I feel like we should be doing better than we are, which might be where we change the tactic, and we might see that helps. But I mean, as you can see, you just have to look, 86 million ins in players sold so far and 2 million out. That is definitely going to change because we've got more players leaving. We really need to start making some progress. But like I said, that might come with the tactic change. You don't know. In terms of the loan farm, I don't think we're doing that great. 37 players out on loan. Struggling a little bit to get some of them out, but we still got a lot of the window left. So hopefully some more will go out. And youth intakes just awful. We've got a new head of youth, so hopefully it's going to take a couple of years, I think, for him to bed in, but hopefully we'll see if that comes good. We have brought back one of our previous under-19s managers. We released him at the end of his contract because he wasn't really doing that well. We brought him back as a coach, and he is potentially already going to make a move to Greta as a manager. So we had him as an under-19s manager. He wasn't getting poached by anyone and he'd stopped developing. We then just brought him back as an under-19s coach. And now he looks like he is actually going to finally get his move out into the division as a manager. He's got good, attacking mentality, decent man management, etc. So hopefully he'll do quite well. They are a third tier team, I think. But I'm sure second tier, but I'm sure he'll get them straight back up again. So bouncing back. And good to see that we are able to sort of help the division by bringing these good level coaches and managers in and then getting them out into the division. Hopefully will help with the overall quality. But realistically, it's getting more clubs as pro now to really help push on. That's what we need. But yeah, overall club info, we do need to update the kits. But yeah, as you can see, fantastic facilities, incredible value. Look at all these trophies we've racked up now. Legends is going to be... Alexander Andre is also a legend. As is Angel Hernandez. That surprised me. He definitely wasn't there that long. Andre is definitely a legend, undoubtedly, as well as is Schwarz. Reitan did all right there, to be fair, getting an icon already. Renali was an icon as well. Didn't expect to see that. But yeah, he was good for us. I think he's out at Villarreal now, is he? He was a good player, and who knows, we might see us bring him back at some point just as an option, because I'm pretty sure he'll count as homegrown. But yeah, that's kind of what we need, really. We're looking for sort of homegrown players. Who's he wanted by? West Ham and Al Ittihad. We'll see what happens there. But we might look to bring him back at some point. Johnny Bakker Hansen, I'm amazed he's only favoured personnel considering how long he's been here, especially when Dennis Reitan is an icon. Bakker Hansen definitely deserves to be an icon, if not a legend, really. But club is very healthy right now, and it's doing really well. And with that, everyone, I'm going to love you and leave you. Hopefully the slightly condensed episode is a bit more enjoyable to watch. It's less faffy, less waffly, and keeps things nice and condensed. But yeah, so far I'm quite happy, I think, with how we're doing now. Hopefully we're just going to push on a little bit more. But lots of food for thought, really, I think. do we finally change the tactic? It's gotten us to this level. I just wonder if we need to change it slightly to help push us onto, the latter stages of the Champions League. Or we may be just a little bit too open. I don't know. Just that midfield leave a little bit too much space in front of the defence. I'm not sure. It's quite a gung-ho Volante-Regista combo. It might see us go to a back three. That is definitely one possibility. But who knows? We'll just have to see what happens. But I hope you've enjoyed the episode. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you all very soon. Bye for now.